Okay, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 10 of the Greatest Muley Hunter podcast. I'm your host, Matt Anderson. Joining me today is my buddy, Adam Barfknecht, out in Wisconsin. Hey, Adam.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going, man?
What's been, man? How are you?
I'm good. Excited to talk to you finally.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we had such a hard hunt this year. Like, I just can't, I can't express to people how difficult this year was, especially compared to other years. Like,
Oh, big
you,
time.
you've been coming out for a few years now, so you understand like the difference between and what a difference a year makes. Because like the same time last year, the rut was hard. Like the bucks were traveling all over the place. Like we were seeing bucks everywhere, and every group of
Yep.
does had bucks. This year, no bucks with any does. Like it was so crazy. It was so
No.
crazy. And then the
And,
rain made it so we couldn't get anywhere. So unless you're crazy like you, so you
yeah, me and
guys,
Chase made it one spot, and we didn't think we were going to make it out of there.
yeah. Yeah. Well, when we
Yeah,
went down into that area where we killed my buck, I was telling my buddies from Missouri, I'm like, we're gonna be able to get in there, but we got to get out by like 9 o'clock because it's gonna start warming up, and when it does, like we're not gonna be able to get out of there. So they're like, really? I'm like, really?
like good old Montana grease.
Yeah. Yeah, you just cannot drive on it when it's muddy, and
No.
man, so combination of the rut not being in gear and not being able to get up into the high country, man, it made it super super damn tough this year.
I did climb to the highest peak I could find, though,
Yeah. Yep.
but I
Scaling
didn't see I didn't see a thing.
scaling rocks and rifle strapped across your chest and
Yep.
yeah, you guys went pretty hard, all things considered.
I walked 11 miles that day. I shot my buck,
Oh man.
and I shot him in the last mile.
Yep. Well, that's better than the first mile. That's
Yeah, it was
we
tough though.
we were hunting across that big creek on the other side. Like we had started from way up at the top, and this was back when I was in high school, and my buddy Chris, we jumped, him and my brother were hunting, and me and my uncle Tom were hunting, and we're all just making our way down through there all the way down to the bottom. And Mike and Chris jumped this big buck like right away, and ended up Chris shot and he wounded him, but he kept on going and going and going. There's a lot of snow, so they could track him,
Oh,
real
nice.
good. So they got on the track and they're trailing him, and they'd find a place where he bedded down, and then they kick him up, and they never quite saw him. They kept jumping him out of his bed, and he wasn't super hurt or anything, but definitely wounded and
Right.
whatnot. And then so it's about 5 or 6 miles down through there, and they get all the way down, right, like half a mile from the road, and they end up getting a shot on that buck again, and Chris ended up killing him. So it was one of those like thank God you didn't kill him right away, because that would have been a
It's
hell of
been
a
a long
drag.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always an adventure in Montana, man. It's such
Oh
a
yeah.
such a unique place, especially coming from the North Woods of Wisconsin.
Yeah, we don't hunt like that here.
I know.
Here, sit in a tree stand and wait.
Yeah. I have no patience whatsoever.
Neither do I. That's why I hunt in Montana harder than I hunt here.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that's a thing. Yep. Yeah. When did you start coming out?
Let me see. I think it was 2013.
Mhm.
We came out for cows
Oh
that
yeah.
year, and then I ended up getting a cow. But then the next year I didn't come out, and then I've been coming ever since.
Sure.
So, but I
Yep.
haven't gone for cows since pretty much. I basically just went for mule deers.
Yeah, that's all I'm interested in. Like I don't have any like for me, if I have the choice between hunting mule deer and hunting elk, I'm gonna choose mule deer every time. If I
Right.
only have one hunt, it's gonna be mule deer. Like that's just I just
Yeah.
love them so much more than anything else. So and my dad was the same way. I mean, he's like, he killed several elk and lots and lots of cows over the years and a couple
Yeah.
bulls. Not anything huge or anything. None. I think his biggest is a like a really small 6 point, like barely a six
Oh,
point,
okay.
and but just if he ever had the choice, it was always mule deer. Just always loved the hunting mule deer more than anything. So
Well, this year for how rough it was, me and Chase saw 2 bull elk, and we're like, man, right now would be the great time to have a tag.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's
they
how
were
we
about
were.
they were about 100 yards off the road. It would have been perfect.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, we were that one afternoon we hiked in right off of that main road and like I jacked up my foot real bad, so I couldn't even like hardly hike at all at that point. And so I sent everybody on a big hike, and then I kind of walked up on a hill and was just kind of glassing and watching them, and just kind of standing there. And I look over on this hill about 600 yards away, and there's this big bull elk just laying under a tree, just like 200 yards from the road. Not
Oh,
not
perfect.
not even a care in the world. Like everybody walked within 200 yards of him and didn't even see him, and he didn't move. I mean, he saw them, but he didn't move. And so I was just watching him in the binoculars. I got a couple pictures through my phone through the binoculars, and I mean, nice bull, real nice 6 point, but he didn't care at all. And it was like one of those things, man. It was like if I knew somebody that had a bull tag, this would be the easiest the easiest hunt ever. So but
Yeah, but he knew you guys all had mule deer
yeah,
tags.
exactly. Exactly. Because he was hanging out in a place where you would not expect a bull elk to just be laying. So,
It's
smart.
amazing how those big things can hide.
Yeah, for sure. There you
Up
go.
there.
Yeah, no, it's and like, the bigger ones, man, they just get so smart. Even, mule deer is the same way. Like I know there's so many times we just walk right past them and they don't even
Oh,
move.
for
And,
sure.
it's just one of those things. Like the country's so thick and brushy, and there's so many things that look like a deer that you just don't even, unless you take, way more time than I have ever wanted to take to look at every single rock that has ever existed, like
Yep.
just
I remember one time it was me, your dad, and my dad. We were up on top of a ridge and we saw a body dive off the side and all the doe standing there. Your old man's like, that's a big buck. So we flew across the top of this mountain and stopped and ran down the woods. And here this buck was screaming. Your dad took a shot. And I think it had to be like 300-400 yards running. Your
yeah,
dad let some lead fly at
yeah.
it. Never even got close to touching it.
Yep. Yeah, that tracks. He was always good at letting the lead fly.
Well, what do
But
you say? Lead ain't flying, nothing dying or something?
well, yeah, I mean, you can't hit them if there ain't nothing coming their way. So,
That's true.
and back in the day when our scopes were such shit and
Yeah.
rifles were nothing, like it was amazing that we were able to kill anything at all. Like there were so
Oh,
many years there where it was like my first shot was always just to see where my rifle was hitting, and then I could adjust.
oh God.
Thanks, Tasco. This podcast is not sponsored by Tasco.
And never will be.
Never. No, I have standards, and I'm all about
Yeah.
that vortex. So.
Yeah, me too.
I
I got
mean,
that red field on my one rifle, and looking
yeah,
through that, and then looking through the vortex on my other one, it's like, holy
yeah,
man,
yeah. Scope technology has come a long way.
big time.
Just like the clarity of the glass is
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Oh, big time.
Unbelievable. Yeah, once I finally started making enough money that it was like, this is a thing that I can do, boy, there's just no going back.
Oh, exactly.
Just no going back.
Nope.
And everybody I know is like, almost everybody has switched over to Vortex, and
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't see too many guys with like Leopolds or all that stuff.
no, I just don't think he can beat him for the value for the money on Vortex is just it's too
Right.
good.
And
And
Vortex treats vets and stuff really good.
yep, and they're based in Wisconsin, and just like super good people. Like everybody that I've ever had to deal with has been like just super top notch. So
Oh,
best
nice.
warranty in the business by far. And I
Yep.
mean, you're always seeing pictures and stuff they always post on, like, this went through a house fire, and they
Yeah, I saw that one.
completely like that's
Lifetime warranty. There it
that's
is.
and completely transferable, and no questions asked. And you know I mean, I've
Yep.
never had any issues with any of my stuff, but I know people that have had to send stuff in, and it's super easy, and just no big deal. So
I had an issue with binoculars one time with them. I sent them back, and they sent me a brand new. They actually sent me a bigger pair. I
nice.
was like, all right,
All
perfect.
right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for screwing up. That works for me.
Yep, that's awesome. So why don't you tell kind of the story about how you met my dad, and how that all came about?
Well, I can remember the first year that I met your dad. My dad said that he had met your dad camping because your dad was a host at the campground.
Yep.
He goes, well, this guy Rick said we can come out and shoot some cow elk. All right, I've never done that before. I think that'd be fun. So we drive all the way to Montana, meet up with this Rick guy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, all right, older fella, got it. All right, well, we're gonna go hit this mountaintop. Perfect, let's go. He drops me and my dad off on the top where and then he goes, I'm gonna go cut through down the bottom. I'm like, Dad, is this guy gonna make it through there? Like, he's old. He's like, he knows all these woods, don't worry about him. I'm like, all right, whatever. So we split up. About 2 hours later, I see your dad just cruising around the bottom of this cut and just moseying all over. I'm like, holy shit. Finally hit the end of the plateau, and your dad comes climbing all the way up to the top. Oh, did you guys see anything? No. Like, how are you alive right now? That
Yep.
was before I knew anything about climbing the mountains at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And now I know the shit that he went through.
Yeah.
Holy man.
I know, man. All the little bird dog hunts that he would always do, and he would always sacrifice himself for, and just
Mm,
like always, like, yeah, just go sit on that point. I'll walk around the bottom and see if I can kick anything up. And I mean, all the time, my whole life, he was doing shit like that, and it's like, holy cow.
my favorite with him though was just follow that finger down that draw, and then you'll come out at the bottom. It's like you go in there and all of a sudden it splits to 10 fingers. It's like, well, okay, which one do I go down? Then you go down one, and then it splits to another 4 fingers. It's like, holy shit, Rick, where are you putting me?
Yeah, he was always really good at, like, yeah, just go on down there, and I'll pick you up at the bottom. Like, all
Yeah,
right, all
yeah.
right.
Where's bottom?
Cool. How many miles are we talking here?
Oh, don't worry, you'll see deer in there too. That was another thing. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, we didn't see that in there. We'll go here. There's deer there. I know it.
Yeah.
And he was right, like most of the time
I
too. It
know.
was crazy.
I know. He definitely had a sixth sense for where the deer were gonna be, and I mean, just incredible. Just
Oh yeah.
incredible what he was able to do. Like, I mean, you think about it, like, Every single year for 64 consecutive years, he killed a buck. Like, what? What? Who? How? Like, how is that even possible? Like, I am 37 years old and I am one consecutive year killing a buck, you know? Like, like, I mean, I've killed a lot of bucks, but Jesus, that's just insane. That's just
Yeah, but
insane.
your old man was a wood tick. I mean, he lived in the woods.
Yeah,
You
for
know, that
sure.
was his spot.
That was what he did.
There was the year that he hurt his back real bad, and he shot that buck in the foot. And we
Yeah,
tracked that thing forever, and he came all the way back in there with us.
yeah,
Finally, I took his rifle, my rifle, and a pack,
yeah,
and I walked out while my dad got him out of there. It's like, you
yeah,
crazy, man.
yeah.
You should not be walking way back in here right now.
No,
But he didn't care.
no, he went hard. He always went hard.
Very.
Like even at the end, I mean that last year when he could barely even walk around at all, he was still like you could tell it was killing him to not be able to get out with us. And I just remember like when I got back to camp after I killed that big buck, and that was my biggest buck, and
Yeah, that was a giant.
it was the first time that I was even in the conversation of killing the biggest buck of the year, and man, he was so proud, just like the look on his face, like he was shaking with excitement, how proud of me he was. And man, that was cool.
That was
That
a
yeah,
dandy buck, too.
yeah, he was. Yeah, right after you left too.
Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
Well, yeah, you're going to have that.
Man, that was a hell of a day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was 8 below 0 when we left the pickup, and
No
yeah,
thanks.
yeah, it was fun.
I got 2 pictures this year. One in the morning, it was like -2, and I'm bundled up tight. And then another one, I got a picture. I'm like in a t-shirt. It's the same day.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, what the hell?
it was way too hot this year. Oh my
I know.
god.
The rain.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun.
New.
I'll pull up a picture of your buck and in a minute, maybe.
Maybe it works.
Oh, did you even send me one of this year's? No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Almost positive I did. No, not this year. Last year, though.
Yeah, yeah, I'll pull that one up.
I didn't have nothing to brag about this year.
Hey man, you filled your tag. That's
That's
that's good
about it.
enough. That's good enough. Some years that's that's all you can do.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it had a super unique rack, like a little extra point on the one side, and it's kind of weird how they just go, kind of straight up at a nice V.
Hmm.
Yeah, you
And then
don't
I
see
got
them.
him. I got him mounted, and it took the largest mount that they make to fit that thing.
Yeah.
And the taxidermist was like, I don't know if I've ever seen a mule deer with this big of a neck. He's like, how much does that thing weigh walking around? I'm like, I
A
don't know. We
lot.
figured like 260, 270. He's like,
Yeah.
holy man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The mount looks really, really good.
yeah, the two of them on the wall next to each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should see the big one that I shot with the drop time.
Yep.
The body size is just unreal between the two of them.
Really.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But obviously the other one's got a lot wider rack.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a much. You could tell this buck is way old and going downhill. Like.
He didn't have any teeth.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I was like that big drop time buck that I made my logo with that my dad killed. Like that buck had 2 half teeth left, and that was it. Like that, there was a 0% chance he would have made it through the winter.
Well, all my buddies say that I kicked the walker out from underneath this one. That's why I got it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, well, whatever. Pretty sure he was running when I shot him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then there's the big boy.
Yeah, that cool, awesome drop tine.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't even know that he had that when I shot him.
Yeah,
That was the cool part.
Well, it was my dad's big buck too. His big drop time buck. He didn't know what it was at all. Like, he gave 3 other guys the opportunity to shoot that deer, but it had it was laying up in a juniper tree, and all he could see was its big white face. Like, that was the only thing that it could see, that any of them could see. They couldn't see antlers at all. But my dad just saw big body and big white face, and he's like, "That's a big buck. Like, one of you guys should shoot it." And they're all just like, I don't know. And then my dad's like, "Fine, I'll shoot it." So he shot it, and they walk up to it and pull it out of the tree, and it's this 30-inch wide 7x7 with a 10-inch drop time. Like, they're all
All
like,
them other
"Oh
guys
my
are.
god!"
Why didn't I shoot?
Yeah. But that's
Yeah,
that's
I mean, that's like one of the craziest mule deers I've ever seen. Even watching the big hunting shows, you don't see them like that.
no, it's so unique. Such a
Yeah.
unique rack, and it was really cool. I had that guy that does the skull carving do that carving of my logo in the
Oh,
skull,
yeah.
and then I mounted those antlers onto that skull. So it's super, super cool.
That's cool that you can have that still.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I got several of my dad's big bucks, and not a lot of them. Like, most of them just got lost in time. Like,
Yeah, that wasn't so much of a trophy back then, like keep the
no,
horns.
he had there was he said they had a shed fire when he was a kid, and this was like, he was probably 18 or so, and he had probably 3 different bucks that were over 30 inches wide in that shed, and they all burned up.
Oh my.
He killed at least 8 30-inch bucks, and maybe 10. Maybe 10.
Oh man. I've I've seen one and missed it.
Yeah. I have seen a handful wall hunting, and I've seen a few more not hunting, and they are so few and far between. Like, it's such a crazy thing. That big
Yeah.
one I killed 2 years ago, that was the closest that I've come, and he's like 26.
Oh, okay. Still, that's a lot of
I mean,
width.
that's a hell of a buck for sure. But no, I got my dad's big 5-point. I have a giant 3-point that he killed years ago in Colorado, and his 2 biggest whitetail that he ever killed, and obviously
Oh
his
man.
giant non-typical, and that big drop tine buck, and then a few others. But,
Yeah. I know even Norman, not a buck like your dad, but Norman's got that shed just full of horns. Yeah, that's where the horns are. It's like, what? These things are huge.
I know. Well, what's crazy to me is, like, so Norm and my Uncle Tom and all those guys hunted the same place as my dad, the same time period, and none of them has anything even close to what my dad killed. Like, nothing even close. And it's crazy.
But like
So
you said, your dad had like that sixth sense to where deer
yeah,
were, and
yeah.
he would spot them things, and it's like, yeah, there's a buck over there. Where? I literally just looked at that whole mountainside. There ain't nothing there, Rick. You're crazy.
Yep, and then sure enough, there's a buck, and
Oh yeah.
I know, man. Like, he had the best the best eyes for spotting deer, spotting animals. Like I can't even. Like I'm pretty good, you know. I've been
Yeah, you're good. I've
doing
seen
it a
you do
long
it.
time, but man, nothing compared to what he did. Like
And he could pick out the size of them from so far away.
yeah,
That's a good buck. I don't know. I'd let that one go.
yeah,
No, I'd shoot that one.
yeah.
It's like,
We're probably gonna want to get a little closer and take a look at that one. You know,
yep. Oh,
that
yeah.
was.
Or this is your opportunity to just start shooting.
Yeah, we're not gonna get any closer. So
Yeah.
if you want to take a chance, go ahead. Yeah. We used to say like they would leave, they would walk from Ashland and head up into the hills, and he'd have a pack of shells in each front pocket, like a box of shells in each pocket, and sometimes they would have to come back to town during the day to get more ammo because of the Wild West, you know.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
But you know, back then they're using iron sights and
Yeah.
you know, just
Probably a gun that laid in the corner of some shed for
yeah,
the year. And
some gun they borrowed from somebody, and
yeah.
you know, because who could afford their own gun? You know, I mean, that was a pretty
So who
big
knows?
deal.
Your dad might have missed some even bigger ones.
I guarantee he did. Like
I'm sure.
I know for a fact. Like you know, there for the 830 inches that he killed, there were probably 30 or 40 more that he didn't.
Right.
So, like, I mean,
Yeah.
the way he talks about that country when he was young, man, like you would not even believe. Like, you know, they'd in a day of hunting, they would see, you know, 200 deer at least, and probably 30 bucks, and probably 10 shooters
Wow.
every day. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I know. It's so vastly different now, and it's still like still awesome. It's still, you know, like
Oh yeah.
you still see 30 deer in a day and
Yeah.
lots of bucks, and you know, it's not
Except for this year. This year was
yeah,
just different.
yeah, for sure. Well, that year that I killed my biggest one, like I saw 5 different bucks that week that were at least that big. Like
Yeah.
that was crazy, and one of them was really damn big, like pushing 30, and we were headed back up in to get that buck the next morning after it froze, you know, because we had to stash it under that tree, and
Oh yeah.
Reggie missed him, that big buck, and man, he was as big as
I
anything I've seen in that country.
I shot that one. How many years ago was that? 4 years ago. And we literally got that buck in the back of the truck, started driving. Big buck silhouettes on top of a ridge. I'm like, somebody needs to shoot that thing. So my uncle Mike sits there and screws around with his scope caps and this and that. And, no, I can't get a shot at it. I'm like, oh my God, I have crosshairs on this thing and I can't pull the trigger. That thing turned around and walked away.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yep. Yeah, it's always like whenever you know, like I brought in those guys from Missouri this year, and you know, just trying to explain to them like how fast everything is going to go down. Like it's
mhm.
just you have a very very small window of opportunity, so you really have to be ready at a second's notice, and like you can't fuck around. Like you just have to take the opportunity when it comes, and sometimes it's not going to be a great opportunity, but you still have to at least take the shot, you know. And
Yeah.
like we drove down to the end of that road, and when I when I got my buck and got down there, and the Missouri boys like they're like deer deer, so I stopped and we all jumped out, and you know I was driving and I you know had the door open, had my gun, had a shell jacked in it, and was like around the end of the pickup and ready to go, and they're like still getting out of the pickup, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, dude, you gotta shoot, like somebody needs to shoot, and I'm like, fuck it, like, so I shot and missed. I got a little excited.
Yeah.
You know, it's like 100 yards at a little buck.
Hey, try
So
missing
dumb.
100 yards at a big buck.
Yeah.
That makes you real mad.
Yeah. Well, it's even stupider because it's a little buck. It's like, why am I getting so damn excited over this little tiny buck? Like one of the smallest bucks I've ever killed in my life. But, you know,
Oh, wow.
whatever. So I shot again, and like they're just like not doing anything, and finally killed that buck. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, neither of you even shot. And then one's like, well, I couldn't see him through the trees, and the other one's like, well, I didn't want to shoot so close to your ear. I'm like, dude, my ears are gone. Like, do you understand? Like, I've been doing this for way too long. I mean, I'll always have ringing in my ears. It's
It'll be all
already
right.
there. You're not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah, damage is done.
Yeah. Too many years of never having ear protection while shooting. Like, that's
Yep.
just, you know.
I finally bought a pair of those walkers this year.
Yeah.
I'll always shoot with them now, but how Reggie wears them in the woods, I don't know. I tried it one time duck hunting.
Yeah.
And just talking to people and hearing the grass move and stuff, it was like freaking me out. Like, nope.
Too much.
Yep.
Definitely a sensory overload.
Oh, yeah. So I took them off. I'm like, all right, I'm done with these things. I'll use them at the range.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely use ear protection when I'm sighting in, but just for hunting, I just can't.
Nope.
Can't take the time. I mean, because, you know, like I said, you have a very small window of opportunity,
Right.
so you have to take advantage with it when it happens. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the hunt, not this year, but last year was much better. You guys did really good.
Yeah, we did.
Hold on. Pull up some more pictures here. Yeah, man, the deer movement that year was just comparatively just no comparison.
No.
I mean, all three of you boys shot really nice bucks, and of course that was the year I didn't have a tag, so
Yeah.
way it goes.
Yeah, that was a good year.
Got the nice outhouse there in the back.
Yeah, I think the lifesaver.
Yeah, you can just see how much bigger your deer is than the other two bucks. Like, just looks like a different species. He's so much bigger.
Yeah, Chase is a 5x6, I believe.
Yeah, it was a nice buck, really nice buck.
But yeah, the neck size is just unreal. There's like wrinkles in this thing's neck on the wall, even.
Yeah.
And awesome. I guess the guy had to cut some inches out of it, even.
I'm not surprised.
He almost had to go to an elk mount.
Yeah, it was funny.
We dragged that stupid thing out of the bottom of a cut about a mile in just the stickiest, nastiest mud. We should have packed that thing out.
Yep.
But oh well.
Hindsight, man.
Yeah. Oh well.
There are so many pack outs like that God, we should have just done something different, but you just get stubborn and stupid and
oh, for sure. That was something interesting right there. Just cutting through the top. All of a sudden, there was 2 elk tags and there were 2 elk that came out, so we dumped them both. And somehow they were running right to that big cut right behind us.
Yeah.
And they turned and ran back uphill when we shot them.
That's crazy.
Thank God. Yeah. I don't know how we would have got them out of the bottom of that.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was
nasty. Yep.
But that calf that we shot that time, I don't even think it was as big as my buck.
Yeah.
Body.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, man. And one year, oh, this was crazy. We were hunting over there, and I shot a pretty nice buck, like a 24-inch 3x4, and nice buck, nothing, no like point length or anything, but just a
Mm,
good buck, and had a pretty good body on him, and it was like the last weekend of season, and my dad still didn't have a buck yet, and so he and I were out, and I saw a whitetail doe tag, and we're driving along, and it's right at first light, like just right at first light, and we're right on the main road in the bottom there, pretty close to where you guys were camping, and
okay.
come around a corner, and there's a whole bunch of deer right in the field right there, and by that old cabin that was right there that has
Hmm.
the fence right up to it, and
Yep.
um so we stopped, and there's one deer that's like way bigger than all the rest, and I'm like, oh dad, there's your buck. And I put up my binoculars and I look, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a doe. That's a white-tailed doe. It was like twice as big as any of the other deer in the field. And I'm like, holy shit. And we had permission to hunt, there. And so I jumped out and I shot that doe, and she just dropped right there, and, drug her right to the road and get them home. And she was bigger than my buck.
That's
Like, my
insane.
buck was a pretty good buck, over 200 pounds dressed, and she was bigger than my buck. It was like, what in the hell? Like, that is so crazy.
Whitetails don't get that big, especially does.
No, no, it was so weird. It was like she was a completely different species than the other ones. Like, she was so much bigger. Just a, uh, I was like, I was certain it was just a big buck hanging out with a bunch of does, and then we stop and just a doe.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I don't know. Like you even look at animals shot, and I just saw one. It was a buck shot in Washington versus a buck shot in Texas. Both of them were 8 pointers. They, it's like one looked like
Yeah.
a pup compared to the other one, but they were
Yeah.
both really nice bucks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So
the
it's
body
amazing the
size on
size.
northern animals compared to southern animals is it's
Yep,
like
insane.
a dog with antlers basically in the south.
Pretty much. And even a mule deer compared to a whitetail is
Yeah.
insane, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
for sure.
size, besides unless you shoot some pups like we did last year, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that's some very
No,
expensive meat.
definitely. At least it's really fun. So
Oh my god, I wouldn't trade. I'm already getting new stuff for next year to try new things.
yeah, I got a whole list going. Like, I started like as we were hunting, and like, man, we got to come up with a better game plan in case the weather is shit this year. Like, you
Mm,
just gotta. I want to try some new places. I want to go to some different places that we've never been before. Like, the thing is that country's so big, and there's so many places to go that like we always just concentrated in the same kind of places. Like, we got really good at hunting those places, but
right.
there's so much country there that I want to see. And so this year we're gonna try something a little different, probably, and then probably not next year, but the year after, we're gonna try packing into a really crazy area with some horses. So my buddy Chris
Oh,
has horses, and we're thinking about packing way back in and just spending a week way back in an area, and like,
well, I know a guy that likes to do that stuff.
yeah, yeah, we'll keep you posted there for sure,
That'd be fun.
because it's one of those areas that I've never actually hunted. Like,
Okay.
we were gonna hunt it one time when I was 12 years old. The first year I was hunting, me and my dad got permission, because you used to be able to drive in there. Like, if you got permission from the rancher, you could drive in from the bottom, and it was a hell of a long ways back in there. And we got quite a ways back in there, and then we got a flat tire and stuck in a super big washed out 2-track. and then it started snowing on us, and
Oh Jesus.
we didn't have a high lift jack, so all we had was this shitty little bottle jack, and we were trying to get that pickup jacked up, and we had an old 71 Ford, and just nothing was working. And my dad was trying, and it's snowing, snow was piling up, but it had been like 60 degrees when we left the house, so I didn't have the appropriate attire that I should have
Oh
had,
yeah.
and didn't have a winter coat or anything. And then we ended up having to hike all the way back to town in a blizzard, and it was like
No Jesus.
8 miles in a blizzard. I mean, it was one of the closest times I've ever come to dying, honestly, because I ended up getting hypothermia pretty bad. And
Oh.
as you can imagine, that country is very damn unforgiving. So we never actually
Yes,
made
it
it back
is.
into that area to hunt. So I've never actually hunted it. I've heard about it, spoken of and kind of hushed and like that place. So
Yeah.
it's always been in the back of my mind. And because you can't drive in there, you can't drive anywhere even close to it. Like my brother said, he's always kind of wanted to take our carts and pack in, like a pup camp or something. And
Oh, there you go.
because it's like it's a day's hike back in there, and then a whole day's hike back out. So
Right.
but if you go in with horses and bring a wall tent and you know do that route, you could really
You set up pretty good.
maximize, yeah, and then just have the whole week, and nobody else is going to be in there. So that's like,
That'd be awesome.
yep.
And walk right out your tent to go hunt.
Yep. But it's one of those things, like, we like it's going to be like a 4-person max kind of a thing. And um
Pack
you
light.
know yep, as light as you possibly can, and you know go that route. But we'll kind of
Yeah,
play it
you're
by
fine.
ear. But if we plan on 2 years from now doing that, like, that gives us enough time to adequately prepare. And because I think
Oh
that
yeah.
would be, like, nobody hunts that country like that. That's the thing. Like, nobody gets too far away from roads. And I think, especially when you're talking about the biggest bucks, like, you really have to get back in some
Deep.
nasty shit that nobody else
Yeah.
is going. And that's the place, I think. And especially if you take a whole week to do it, and you're covering the same country. And that's the thing too. Like, we go one place, and then the next day we go someplace completely different, and the next day we go someplace completely different. And there's just no, like, we're gonna hunt this area, that's what we're doing. So yeah, we didn't see much today, but who knows what tomorrow's gonna be.
Right.
You just
Just
don't
like we
know.
were in on one spot, and then we said we didn't see that, and then you said that you saw all kinds of
Yeah.
deer there, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, we were in there, and nothing happened.
There ain't no deer in this country. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so much right place, right time that has to happen when you're talking about big muley bucks, especially that, if you can take competition out of the equation, and just
Yeah.
the occasional, or the occasional hunter that happens across, you always hear every year somebody shoots a big buck just crossing a big road or something. And
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you the number of times, like, well, even my cousin Craig, Norm's son, like, that gigantic buck that he killed years ago ran right across the road in front of him. Like, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just one of those things. Like, but I think that would be a really cool experience too. And I've never hunted like that at all. So it's always kind of
Yeah.
been one of those things that I'd love to do. So I think,
My girlfriend wants horses, and I said I'll get a horse, but I want to be able to shoot off of it because then I'm going to take that thing hunting.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
another like limited hunt or like remote hunt like that, I want to do Prince of Wales Island
sure.
for Sitka deer, but I
I
heard that is a nasty hunt.
Yes, I have heard
But
that as well. But
I want to try it.
yeah, yeah, for real. And those deer are so small. It's so funny. Like,
I don't know. Throw them in a backpack
yep,
hole. Take
yep.
them out of there.
One over each shoulder and just
Yep.
walk out.
But I like that challenge. I think that's the other thing I like about hunting out there is the challenge of you want to stay high as long as possible, but then you have to go on some of those cuts, and then you
Yeah.
got to get back up out of it. And
Yep.
it's like, holy man! So then the shooting the deer is actually like the biggest reward ever.
Yeah, definitely.
Unlike here, where you're sitting in a tree stand, it's like, oh, a deer walked in, and I shot it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I
Well,
don't get
like
pumped about that.
the biggest difference is like you realize how absolutely razor thin the line is between life and death is out there. Like one misstep and you're fucked. You are
Yeah,
fucked. I mean, think about the cliff that you climbed up. Like,
that was stupid.
you know, you break your fucking leg, you break your phone. What are you gonna do? How are we
Oh,
gonna find you? You know, like,
exactly.
I mean, these are.
Well,
It's
Ryan took a
so
digger.
yeah,
Ryan fell off a cliff and landed like 10 feet down. Thank God
yeah.
he landed on something. But
Seriously,
his back is still screwed up from
I'm
it.
not surprised.
And
Yeah,
me and Chase, we both did some stuff, and we're like, one
yeah,
slip, man. I was going for I would have went for a ride, or
yeah,
or I would hope I went to live because holy man, I
yeah,
would have been messed up.
yep.
And it's like
Yeah.
all that for a deer, but I'll do it next year for
Oh,
that.
for sure, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're putting yourself against the elements more than you're putting yourself against the deer. You know, I mean, the
Yeah,
deer is just a byproduct. You know, it's like it's such a visceral, like, hearkening back to who we are as fundamental human being hunter gatherer types, you know, like
yep,
you versus the world and the wild, and mother nature does not fucking care about you. You
yeah,
are meaningless.
yes, very,
And the scope of that country like really makes you understand just how insignificant that you are.
well, that's like when I got to the top of that peak, I looked and it's like, holy shit,
Yeah,
there are peaks everywhere. And I mean, I'm down to a t-shirt at that point.
yeah,
When I started going down, it started getting dark. Next thing I'm bundled up, and
yeah,
holy man, it was cold. I'm like,
yeah,
I need to get the hell out of here because it is. My feet were like ice cubes at that point.
yeah, for
And
sure.
it's how fast I can change from
Yep.
great easy walk to all right, it's time to go.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's such a you have to be prepared for so much in a way that you just don't have to be, hunting in Wisconsin for example. Like
Right.
there's just no comparison.
I
Like
am the. Go ahead.
Montana's just so wild. It's just so wild. Like
Yep.
I mean, it's a completely different thing.
I carry that pack every day
Hmm.
for. It's not even so much to pack out meat, but I have. If something does happen, I'm okay if
Yep.
I have to stay in the woods.
Yep.
I'll survive a day or two
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
But it's just, and then
Yeah.
sometimes when you walk without it, you feel naked. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, if I screw up now, I'm fucked.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's a really disconcerting feeling when you think about what could happen, and
Mm-hmm.
you try not to dwell on things like that, but it's always got to be in the back of your mind because you just don't know. You just don't know what
Right.
what could happen and how it all could go down. So
Yep.
yeah, it's awesome. It's
If
such
it's not in your mind a little bit, you might want to get it in your mind a little bit.
yes, you're definitely going to want to rectify that situation. Because pretty quick, it's going to show you why.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. Unless you never get out of the truck, then you're fine.
Yeah, even then, like you get back in some country and now you're stuck, and now what are you gonna do? And
Yeah, like where your sister took us a
yeah,
couple of years ago.
yep,
I can't believe we got the trucks and us out of there. That
yeah,
was
it's pretty
bad.
impressive.
That turned into a shitstorm real quick.
Yep. Yeah, that's that's kind of how that country is. Like, you just don't I'm having a little technical difficulties here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and end there, and I'll have Adam back on um, another time. And thank you for hanging with us here. So, see you guys later.